Hello. This week we will be covering the Occupational Safety and Health Act, also known as OSH. On our agenda for this training session, we will learn about what is OSH, who it covers, who isn't covered under the Act, what the employee's rights are, what record keeping is required by the company, and what your roles as leaders are. We will begin with what is OSH. This was an act that was put into place in 1970, and the act assigns OSHA two functions to perform to ensure employers are providing safe and healthy workplaces. These two functions include setting standards and conducting inspections. Part of this is encouraging states to develop individual safety programs that will be monitored and approved by OSHA, and also implementing federal standards under four major categories. The major categories for the federal standards include having access to medical and exposure records. So this allows the regulation to access employees' medical records if needed by OSHA. It also includes another category of personal protective equipment. This is where it requires employers to provide employees personal safety equipment to protect them against certain hazards that are in the workplace. It also has a category of hazard communication, and this is where it requires manufacturers and importers of hazardous materials to conduct evaluations of the products they manufacture or bring into the workplace. Now that we know what OSH is, who does it cover? The Act covers most employers and employees. These employers and employees must be located in the 50 states, the District of Columbia, Puerto Rico, or in one of the other U.S. territories. There is a separate program that is utilized for federal government employees, and this separate program extends coverage to state and local government employees if the state has an OSHA-approved plan. Meanwhile, the following are not covered under the OSH Act. People that are self-employed are not covered. Also not covered are farms who only employ immediate family members. There are also situations in which another federal agency regulates worker safety. In this case, it would trump this, and so they would go based off of that. And lastly, state and local government employees, unless they're in a state with the OSHA-approved state plan. Under the OSH Act, there are a great deal of employee rights that are issued. The employees have the right to file a complaint about workplace hazards, safety, or any other concerns that they have that fall under this. Part of the Act is keeping the identities of these employees confidential if they prefer. It also allows the employees to contest the time allowed to correct the issue. And also, employees are able to participate in OSHA inspections. In addition, like we talked about last week in whistleblowing, the employees are protected from employer discrimination and retaliation if they do file a complaint. If they were to experience any sort of discrimination or retaliation, they can let OSHA know, and then there will be an investigation and a decision made in which can include the employer having to restore any lost benefits to the employee, or restoring their job. There's also record keeping that is required under the OSH Act. This does depend on the number of employees and the industry of the company on what is required. For all employers, work-related injuries must be logged. There must be separate records kept for each work location. And any injuries that involve 3 or more employees that are in the hospital, or if an employee dies, must be reported to OSHA within 8 hours. Now, what's your role as a leader? As a leader, we as a company want you to encourage workplace and employee safety. We want you to be aware of safety hazards and address them. If there's any workplace injuries or illnesses, make sure you report these immediately. And make sure you're educating yourself through training programs and ask questions of the safety team. In conclusion, you learned about the Occupational Safety and Health Act of 1970, which is administered by the Occupational Safety and Health Administration, or OSHA. You should be able to tell now what this act covers and what your role is as a leader. Thank you.